everybody, and welcome to the Frenzy Extra Championship Edition here, Central Mass Championship Edition from Algonquin Regional High School, where the T-Hawks are getting ready for Shrewsbury for their Central Mass Championship game coming up this weekend. More from these guys and Shrewsbury in just a little bit, but let's break down the big matchups coming your way on Championship Saturday. Two sites for the Central Mass Finals, Commerce Bank Field at Foley Stadium in Worcester. It's the D2 final, Shrewsbury and Algonquin at noon. D4 final is Littleton and West Boylston at 3 p.m. and D3A, Uxbridge and Nipmuc at 6. Doyle Field in Leominster, D2A matchup at noon, Neshoba and Marlborough. It's a rematch. D4A, St. Bernard's and Maynard at 3 p.m. and then it's St. Peter, Marion and Grafton in Division 3 at 6. In the Division 2 final, it is these Algonquin Tomahawks who like to practice to the music here in Northborough, taking on Shrewsbury. Teams just met a couple of weeks ago, a game won by Algonquin, and both teams had to win key matchups to get into the playoffs and then big games in their semi-final round. So it sets up a showdown for Saturday between familiar opponents.
Every time we play St. John's, it's more than just a regular game, being our in-town rival and everything like that. So it felt really good to get the win, especially against the top-seeded team.
Obviously, it's a huge win for us. I'm so proud of the effort that the team put in as a whole. All of us played hard. We all prepared hard. We had a great week of practice leading up to the game, and just felt great to get a win against those guys.
Obviously, Algonquin's a really good team, and the last thing we can do is come out flat like we did the first time. If we come out flat, they're going to take advantage of us and, just keep the foot on the gas. And so definitely have to come out firing.
Played them tough last time. We didn't play too well in the first half, but I think, again, if we can put together a whole game and come out swinging, we should be all right.
Think back to 5-6 years ago, if you told someone that Algonquin would be playing for a Central Mass final, they'd look at you like you're crazy. So, but it's a position that we've always believed we could be in. We have a great opponent in Shrewsbury who we've seen once, and we beat them last time, so they're going to come out firing on all cylinders. But it's a Central Mass final game, so really anything can happen.
We haven't been here before. We haven't been here in a long time, and I think just for everybody in the program, we've been working for something like this all season. We've been working to get to this point, to get farther than this point, and to have it actually all happen is just so unreal, and it's just a great feeling. We need to come out firing and ready to go. We need to execute all of our plays, come out strong. I think we need to score first. We just need to keep playing even if we go down. And we just really got to play hard for 4 quarters.
In Division 3A, it is Nipmuc and Uxbridge, two teams that really can put up a lot of points offensively, and two teams that we don't see all that often on Friday night because they don't really play under the lights. In fact, we haven't seen Nipmuc all season long, but the mysteries will be revealed on Saturday when these two teams match up for the championship.
Everyone knows what this type of game's all about. It's a Central Mass Championship. We're honored to be playing in it for a 3rd straight year, but it does hold true to its play-by-play. And it'll start with our practice habits. It'll start with how we prepare for the week, what type of film study that we put in.
They're a great team. They're well coached. They fly around. They're fast. They've got a big line, and we got to go out and execute on our game plan that our coaches write up this week.
They're well-rounded, well-coached, and they're going to bring their A game against us on Saturday night.
We know them because we scrimmage them and we play them against in passing league, is that you have to start well because they're going to get into a rhythm, the quarterback at some point. They're going to score some points, so you can't get in a big hole and let them play from ahead. So you got to really start well, and you got to find a way not to give up big plays.
We were very optimistic at the beginning of the year. We knew we had a lot of talent. We lost a bunch of linemen last year, but we knew that our pass game was going to be unbelievable this year, and I couldn't be more thrilled as to where we are right now. From freshman year to now, it's just been insane. Winning 3 games in a freshman year and coming here and being 6-3 and in the CMass finals, it's amazing.
Division 4 now, West Boylston taking on Littleton, and the Lions of West Boylston in the same spot they were a year ago. Last year, though, they fell short to St. Bernard's in the Central Mass final. The Lions, though, roaring for this opportunity to get a chance to be champions.
We're going to have to play the best game we've played all season. They're going to definitely be fired up for it. But we're just going to come. We got to stop them on defense, but really just got to work hard this week.
We could just keep pushing and grinding out against the other teams and then late in the game.
To beat a team as good as Littleton twice in a year is extremely hard. We got to be very physical, We got to be, run to the ball. We got to stay on our blocks. They're extremely talented. Their skill positions, their line's big and strong.
So here's what we have coming up this week. Friday, it is week 10. The Frenzy comes your way at 10:25 on Charter TV3. And then Saturday, the Central Mass Finals, a very special Frenzy that night at 10:30 p.m. Well, we're just getting warmed up here at Algonquin, but we're going to take a quick break, go back inside the studio to Kevin Shea and Jim Wilson, who are going to break down the championship even further now on the Frenzy Extra. Stay with us.
Coming up this Friday on the Friday Night Football Frenzy. Rivals square off as the St. John's Pioneers visit the Wachusett Mountaineers. It's a city showdown as the Worcester Tech Eagles battle the North High Polar Bears. Swickle teams meet up yet again as the Leicester Wolverines visit the Bartlett Indians. And we'll preview the upcoming Central Mass Championship, the Frenzy on Charter TV3. Frenzy is presented by Bay State Savings Bank and the Worcester Railers Hockey Club. Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Shea, Jim Wilson from the Telegram and Gazette, and it's time to look ahead to the Central Mass Super Bowls and look back at some great semifinal games. Starting in Division II, Shrewsbury beating St. John's, and this was a rematch game. Both games were rematch games. Incredible win, though, for Shrewsbury.
Oh, yeah, I said it earlier, last week. If you look at the brackets, they couldn't have broken better in terms of great games. Great rematches, not one person to complain. They lived up to it. There were two fantastic games. And, would you really think Algonquin and Shrewsbury at the start of the year?
No, beginning of the year, I said this before, at the beginning of the year to people here at the studio, if you took odds on a Shrewsbury-Algonquin championship, and you would have made a lot of money if you bet that. We don't bet high school football, and that's why.
Well, you don't.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, that is an incredible, and it's why you play the games.
Yeah.
It is why these kids lifted all off-season long. It's why they go to speed camps. It's why they hit the sled during the year. You do all the little things that make you a championship football, and both football team, both Shrewsbury and Algonquin have done those.
And it wasn't, like we said earlier in the pre-show, it was more of a, there wasn't one monster this year.
Right.
It wasn't like, okay, well, geez, St. John's has Light and Rogers and just wait and give them the title.
Right.
It's, anybody could beat anybody. I wouldn't be, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if Algonquin was in the final. I just figured there would be a Leominster or St. John's or Wachusett up against them on the other side.
Yep.
So it's credit to those teams. Algonquin's done a great job coming back. I mean, remember last winter, their hockey team came out of nowhere and won a title. So Algonquin now they realize they're confident, they're ready to run through a wall for Coach McKay and his staff, and they know they can. Not importantly, they can play at this level. It broke great for them because I'm sure they're much happier to see Shrewsbury on the other side of the field than St. John's.
Well, and they beat Shrewsbury in the regular season. One thing that stands out to me with Algonquin is Ryan Berry, their quarterback. He is a great leader. As a quarterback, you're always going to be a leader, but just because of that position. But some are bigger, better leaders than others. Ryan Berry is a great leader. That team follows him. He leads by example, but he can pick them up too. And he's a kid that is tough. He'll hang in there to make the throw, even though he knows he's going to take a shot. And he's a guy that inspires that offense. I love Ryan Berry at quarterback.
And Shrewsbury on the other side is also a young, Campanelli's a young quarterback. They got a great, so him in those kind of levels. I mean, he had to beat Leominster. Shrewsbury's had like 3 games in a row where their backs against the wall. If you lose this one, you're done.
Right.
They've responded each time. I mean, that game against St. John's, nobody's like, when you talk about earlier about how Algonquin's high for this game.
Right.
Shrewsbury they beat St. John's. They're for all the stuff you hear about St. John's Shrewsbury rivalry, they're 3-2 in their last 5 games. Before then, they were 3-24. So I mean, they just turned it around. Now they're up ahead in the series recently. They know they can go there. All of a sudden, playing St. John's isn't a big game for them anymore because they know they're confident they can handle it.
And they had that belief, and it was borne out by the first game that they played at Assumption on the Friday night, that they knew they hung with them and they went with them blow to blow and toe to toe. And this game here on Saturday was a phenomenal game. And, one of the big turning points was Trokey taking the onside kick to start the second half and taking it back for a touchdown. He's a kid, tough football player, but also runs track. One of those kids that's always trying to better himself in the offseason. It pays off, running track, getting faster. He picks up the ball, has the poise, takes it to the house. That's a huge play. Drew Campanelli, just a sophomore, but he plays like a senior. What I love about this Shrewsbury team, they've taken on the persona of John Aloisi, their head coach. Aloisi at Holy Cross was a linebacker, running back. He was a 2-year captain, unheard of in that period in time. He was a guy that played every position for them. He was a guy that was very unselfish, but above everything else, he was tough. He was a smack you in the mouth kind of player, and that's what this team does right now. They've taken on the persona of their head coach.
And that's what happened. They had the whole incident before the half with was it a late hit? Was it called? Everything like that. it all of a sudden seemed to galvanize them. And who knows, I mean, it might have played a part into how St. John's came out in the second half. Unless the surprise with an onside kick, they get it, they drive down the field, all of a sudden they take control. Shrewsbury gets the bounce, Trelke gets a gap, he's gone. Next thing you know, Shrewsbury's punching it again, and the game's out of reach.
Yeah, and when you look at the matchup now for the Division II championship, the Central Mass Super Bowl, Shrewsbury and Algonquin, what I love about this is they're two teams that are very similar. They're almost mirror images of one another. When you look at offensively, they have 3 or 4 running backs that can hurt you. It's not one guy that they just count on to carry the ball 35 times a game. Both quarterbacks can run, they can throw the ball. They both have poise, they both have very accurate arms. So they're both offenses that say, what are you going to do? If you're going to put 8 in the box, we'll beat you by throwing the ball. If you're going to drop 6, then we'll run the ball and we'll pound you. We'll play smash mouth. So I love this matchup, and I'm excited to see it because I want to see how it comes out, and I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter and maybe the final drive of the game.
Yeah, and Algonquin is one of the better teams, and nobody talks about how they adjust. Second, I mean, we always talk about how you don't want to play Wachusett twice this season, St. John's.
Yeah.
Algonquin's becoming that team. I mean, look at Wachusett. They took it to them the first game. People are saying, oh, that's just a fluke win. They're not going to do it again. Algonquin went back into the chemistry lab, and they realized what worked against Wachusett. What would they be expecting the second time? They came out, they threw the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
So while Wachusett's sitting there saying, okay, this is what they did the first game to beat us, we got to fix that. Algonquin said, that's fine, you can work on that, but we're going to be over here doing this now. And then we have another comfortable win against Wachusett. I'm interested to see that, Shrewsbury, I think it was a 31-21 win by Algonquin. What happens in the second? Because Algonquin's not going to give them the same look.
Right.
So whatever Shrewsbury's looking at in the huddle film and seeing what Algonquin did against them, they probably won't be doing that.
Right. It's going to be a great matchup. Division 2A, I love this matchup as well. It's going to be a Neshoba-Marlboro final. And you look at these two teams, and first of all, you start with the coaches. And I've talked about Sean Mahoney at Marlboro, and I've just always, through the years, loved the job he's done when he was at Shrewsbury. He coached at Assumption as well, and then here at Marlboro. Jamie Tucker is another phenomenal coach. He's another Assumption grad, too. That coaching tree coming out of Assumption College. But Jamie Tucker learned from his dad. His dad had great success at Neshoba. And you know what? What I love about Jamie Tucker is he's not trying to reinvent the wheel. They have run the wing tee so effectively for years at Neshoba. He's not trying to change that. We're doing the same thing. We're just doing it better than anyone else. And that's what I love about this Neshoba team. Same thing, 3 to 4 running backs. You pick your poison. They're all going to hurt you. They're all going to get 8 to 10 carries, so they're going to be fresh. They're going to be physical. But their linemen move their feet better than anyone. They have a big line up front, but they all pull very well. In order for the wing tee offense to work, you've got to have guards and tackles that can move. Neshoba has that.
Exactly. I mean, you could do a season preview from Neshoba every year and just leave the names blank because it's going to be the same kind of thing. They have 3, like you said, 3 or 4 running backs. Last week, Nate Mansauer had, 3 touchdowns as they cruise to a win. This week could be Jake Fire, could be Nick Rogers. I mean, they have a great core of running backs. That's what we talked about earlier. It's more of there's not, other than like a West Boylston or a Grafton with that one player, who do you stop?
Right.
All this whole playoff is full of players with very deep backfields, very a hero of the week kind of mentality. That's what I like because I love those games where you don't really expect what can happen.
Right. Earlier in the season, these two teams played. Marlboro won the game 27-7, so this is a rematch as well. When you look at the way Marlboro is playing right now, 3 of their last 5 games they've scored 40 or more points. 4 of their last 5 games, they've scored 35 or more points. This is a team that's clicking on offense and is a very balanced attack offensively.
Exactly. This is one of the toughest games they've had in that span, too. I think a lot of those games weren't against playoff teams. So but they showed when they have the big games, they can do this. I mean, again, Owen Capadonna and Luke Goulet, they are really capable of they're a nightmare for other defensive coordinators trying to figure out how to stop it because nobody else has this year.
Right. Division 3 now, we move on. We have Grafton and St. Peter Marion. This one's going to be a good matchup, but we're going to go back first a week ago. Grafton and Quabbin. What a game this was. 56 points these teams combined for in the second quarter alone. This was so much fun to watch. I was on the sideline shooting it for us and watching it. It was a blast to watch. And I got to say this. Tip my hat to Quabbin and Ryan Malkowski, their quarterback. They did a phenomenal job. This Grafton team can compete with anyone at any division in Central Mass. And this Quabbin team came out and made a statement last Friday night. They were throwing the ball all over the place. They ran their offense. They first came out and kind of deceivingly started running the football, started using the clock a little bit, trying to keep the ball away from Grafton. Then they went back to the throwing offense once they had Grafton kind of thinking run and coming forward. And Ryan Malkowski did a phenomenal job spreading the ball around, finding the open receiver, looking off safeties and linebackers. Just a great job by that Quabbin team, and hats off to Grafton for coming out with another win.
Yeah, exactly. I said it last week. I didn't think Quabbin would be able to go touchdown to touchdown against Grafton, and for 3.5 quarters, they pretty much did. I mean, that's really impressive because I always, it's going back for years since Quabbin went to that whole, spread-based, 600 yards a game offense. They do it, but when they get to the bigger games and the bit tougher teams where the people that match up for it, they haven't been able to sustain that. And they work because Grafton's shut a lot of teams down this year. And, Quabbin was able to move that ball when they wanted to until Grafton solved some things. And if he sort of took over with 100 touchdowns that game.
He's unbelievable. I mean, we've said it before. We've sat here and talked about Afatu Melifonwu and how good he is. He is, for my money, the best player in Central Mass. And he shows that because you just keep feeding him, and he is so tough to contain. You may tackle him 2-3 times in a row. The fourth time he's gone for 40 yards. I mean, that's how good he is. And even and Quabbin pursued the football very good. They read their keys. They were flying to him, but he's a special talent. And that's why he's a Division I talent, and while the top Division I teams are all over him in the country because you're going to see this kid on Saturday afternoons making plays for a top 20 team.
He's like when you go into Madden and create a dude all 99s and just run on your team, he's just running over people. That's pretty much what he is.
Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl.
He's Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl. That's even more our speed.
You can't stop him. You just can't stop him.
It should be interesting. We're going right back into it with St. Peter Marion.
Yeah.
How can they do it? Because again, St. Peter Marion, another team I thought, okay, well, they're putting up good numbers, but Auburn has that defense to sort of sustain them.
Right.
It was shut down a little bit, but they still got the points they needed. I mean, P.J. Barry's leg, you gave him the touchdown. I mean, I can hear all about the photo slideshow of was it a touchdown or not, and who recovered the fumble and everything like that. So they go back and next for the rematch. But for bottom line, St. Peter Marion moves on. Right. They show they belong there. I mean, not one of those two teams look like in that division, or 4 teams in that division didn't belong in that final.
No, you're right. In St. Peter's with Danny Mame, quarterback, is a great athlete. I saw him on a play last week against Auburn. Auburn strips the running back of the football in between the guard and center. Danny Mame's back there, quarterback, 5 yards behind the play, sprints up, scoops it off the turf, and runs for a first down. I've never seen a quarterback do that in a game. He's a great athlete, but P.J. Barry, you mentioned it. The biggest weapon I think that St. Peter's has is P.J. Barry as a kicker. He set the Central Mass record for field goals in a season. In a game like this, where if you're St. Peter Marion, you're trying to hold Grafton to 14 points or less, P.J. Barry could be the difference. Where if you're at the other opposing team's 30-yard line, and normally you might have to go for it on 4th and 5, they can kick. If Barry gets 2-3 field goals, big difference in this game.
He's a baseball player, just happened. He's just killing time right now.
He was a soccer player that they got to come out for football.
He's messing around. Like,
One of the Leary boys got him out.
I'll set a Central Mass record while I'm at it.
Unbelievable.
So it's good for them. Like you said, it opens up the whole other offense. Their defense, I mean, with like Nick Ashley, Ethan Morello, and Kayvon Darden, all those guys are really showing they can shut teams down. So it'll be interesting to see what every week we talk about what is their solution to stopping Melifonwu.
Right.
We'll see what St. Peter Marion has in store.
Right. Division 3A, Nipmuc and Uxbridge. Uxbridge back in the Central Mass Super Bowl for the 3rd straight year. This is incredible. Max White-Cohen, of course, is what makes their offense tick. The quarterback is so talented and had another great game in the semifinals. But Matt Johnston is a guy that I absolutely love because he's Mike Allstott on offense. He's Mike Singletary on defense. He flies to the football. He hammers people. And on offense, he runs people over. He's a human wrecking ball.
Exactly. And I think, like you say, you got to watch out for it because people are going to go in there. How do you stop White-Cohen? Well, he's 300 yards, two running touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's like, he's just messing around there. But you look at that, but you say you have Johnson the other one you got to worry about because he's going to wreck the other teams on defense, and Nipmuc's going to need to start. They're not going to shut down Uxbridge.
Right.
So I think it'll be interesting what Johnson does to stop like Ryan Richards and Jake Rafano and those guys. That offense. Nipmuc, they had a little hiccup. They got hurt. They had injuries. They rested their stars a little bit against St. Peter Marion. So they had those 2 losses in the season. And you're wondering, okay, how much is it going to affect them? They came back and pumped Holy Name in the first round. They showed they're ready for it.
And that was a team that had beaten them a couple weeks earlier, Holy Name. So, and this Nipmuc team is a team that has put up points. Offensively, they can score. You mentioned Ryan Richards. He can run it and throw it. He's another one of those dual threat quarterbacks that puts a lot of pressure on defenses. I think Nipmuc comes into this game with a lot of confidence and also with a little chip on their shoulder like, hey, we have something to prove here too.
Seed.
Right. We want people to kind of take note of us. Look at what we've done. And so I think this is going to be a great game too.
They're the top seed, but they sort of looked at those 2 losses. People are starting to look after them. They got a guy like George Maurice on the defensive line. I think he can create havoc.
Right.
White-Cohen might not have the time he has to find those receivers.
And that's the key too is are you going to get pressure right up the gut and force White-Cohen to go side to side, but because he can control the game too with his feet, and certainly they can roll him out and design rollouts too to get away from some of that defensive pressure. West Boylston in Division 4. West Boylston, Littleton rematch. West Boylston won the game a couple weeks ago. And these are the games, these are tough. You played a team 2 weeks ago, you beat them. It's a huge game. Emotionally, It's a huge game. Now you have to gear up again 2 weeks later and play them for a Central Mass Super Bowl. And Littleton is going to have 11 guys on defense that are keying on Cole McCoubry. If Cole takes a step to his left, everyone on the defense goes to their right. If Cole takes a step to his right, everyone on the defense is going to go to their left. You're going to have 11 guys keying on, when you say read your keys, it's going to be one key. Cole McCoubry, everyone go to him.
We'll see what happens, because that was their game plan last time. He scored 6 touchdowns on him.
He's a horse. He's Larry Zonka.
What do you do?
You know, just get on his back. John Riggins, the diesel.
He's chasing Karan's rushing record for Central Mass. So you know, Ross, they had the feedback on him. They used to be going. His legs are going to fall off. But you like CrossFit, Cole.
Tooch will feed him. He will feed the beast. Cole McCoubry, and you know what? It's special, too. It's his senior year, Cole's senior year, and, you know, this West Boylston team has dealt with a ton of injuries all season long. So hats off for the Lions to be in the Super Bowl. Division 4A, we got about 30 seconds. Maynard and St. Bernard's in this one. Maynard's the team, too. They're the Rodney Dangerfield. We don't get any respect. We don't get no respect because all they've done is win, but they say that they're getting overlooked. Well, here's a chance to beat a good St. Bernard's team and kind of put your stamp on that trophy and put your name on that trophy at Super Bowl.
We talk about the mirror images. I mean, I think, you know, 2 good wing T teams run the ball. They have, you know, Eric Kiley to be a big key for Maynard, I think. A big two-way threat. The St. Bernard's have an answer for him. And James Zaras had a great game last week for St. Bernard's. You know, but I think Maynard might have the body sort of to mark him a little bit. Maynard's a very good balanced team with a couple good studs. They can really get the job done. You know, but St. Bernard's, they've been there. They were there last year. They look really solid. They're right back to where they are. Guys like, you know, Connor O'Ronan and Parker Bigelow, they can carry the load too. So if they do stop Zaras, I think they have the answer too.
A lot of pride in that Maynard program too. There's a couple Acton Box Pro guys, old AB guys on that Maynard
always
roster.
Comes back to AB.
A lot of pride right there. The Route 27 Rumble.
That's why we don't do much on Beta, because I don't want you going your AB rants every chance you get. You give him a little, crack the door open, he's gone.
We're out of time. We'll see you next week and review the Central Mass Super Bowls. Andy Lacomb's coming back with more of the Frenzy Extra after this.
Bay State Savings Bank brings you Kasasa. What's Kasasa? It's a catchy word for earning cash that just might make you want to dance. Get paid for doing simple things you do anyway. That's free Kasasa checking.
Ask for Kasasa by name at Bay State Savings Bank, proud sponsor of the Friday Night Football Frenzy.
Welcome back. The Abby Kelley Bears in their first full season of varsity football, and they've had a pretty good year so far. They had a couple of games last year, went 1-1 to close out the season. But as our Brenna Wilson tells us, the Bears just getting started in their football program.
The Abby Kelley Foster football team is 2 games away from completing their first full varsity season.
There's been a lot of hard work that has sort of been put into this, and it's sort of years in the making. To say that we're getting to the end of it has been an accomplishment.
This program started about 5 years ago, advancing from flag football to freshman football to JV and then varsity. Last year, the Bears closed out their season with 2 games at the varsity level.
We played a JV schedule for the most of last year, and there's a big jump in game speed and toughness and sort of those things, and that really gave us sort of a sneak peek. So it wasn't so much of a culture shock the first couple of weeks out. Really let us kind of work our way into it.
Well, it was a huge step up from what we were used to. Varsity was a big movement, a lot of new challenges. We played some great teams.
I believe we got a good taste of the intensity of the sport. It just helped us to know what we were getting into this year.
The Bears went 1-1, winning their first ever varsity game against Oxford before losing to South. The experience helped to provide a sense of anticipation for the players.
I was amped up. I was really ready to play. Like I said, I really wanted to make AKF history. I was really happy to be a part of the football community.
I was pretty excited for it. I was hyped up like the whole year waiting to get back on the field, especially competing at a new level.
As the first varsity football team at Abby Kelley, the players are part of school history.
It means a lot to me. I think it's really awesome that I got to make AKF history.
It's an honor. Being able to be a part of the names of people who started off the football program at Abby Kelley, it's great.
The Bears are currently 4-5, with the chance to finish the season with a winning record playing teams who have had a varsity program for years, if not decades. The players look forward to the direction the program is heading.
I'm going to be at every game. I can't wait to see this team blossom and really show what we have.
I look forward to the team continuing to get better and succeeding with every new season.
There was a lot of work to be done in that first year with kids not knowing where to line up or positions or how to tackle or how to even throw or catch. So to say that we've come that far since freshman year has been good. The fact that we won some games this year has been good. We can compete at this level has been good. But we still know we have a long way to go before we can continue to grow as a program.
The final game in Abby Kelley's inaugural varsity football season is a match against Worcester Tech on Thanksgiving. Both the coach and players are looking forward to the potential city rivalry in the years to come. For the Frenzy Extra, I'm Brenna Wilson.
Thanks, Brenna. Abby Kelley hosts Air Shirley on Friday night. Time for another quick break. More of the Frenzy Extra when we come back.
Worcester hockey fans, Mike Myers here with tracks from your Worcester Railers Hockey Club.
The Railers have a lot of exciting new projects underway as we get ready for ECHL action in October 2017. 2 new hockey rinks in the Canal District, Railers Tavern behind the DCU Center, and reach 1,500 members. Memberships are on sale now by placing just a $50 deposit. For more information, visit RailersHC.com.
Time to get all aboard the Railers train.
To the college ranks now, the Assumption College Greyhounds go into the NE10 championship game off a win on senior day over AIC. It's a game we saw on Charter TV3. And for their part, the Greyhounds players say it was nice to get the seniors a win in their last regular season game at home, but they have more work to do in the championship game.
It's another week for us, so we wanted to keep our momentum going into the championship week. Didn't want to take any plays off, and we just came out here and competed. AIC, great team, and they really gave it to us.
Key was to just get to that quarterback early. You know, we just do our thing all the time, every week, and the scheme was real good this week. We just got to do what we got to do, and that's what we did today. It means everything for us younger guys to give the seniors, you know, another opportunity, another NE10 championship, and that's just what we're doing next week against LIU Post. You know, it's going to be a great game, and we're excited for it.
Next year it'll be us in my class, but I mean, today was for them, and we played for them. And last home game, I know how important it is to them, so we had to get a W today. We're gonna have our game plan and set come on Monday, actually Sunday, and I mean, nothing's gonna change. Just another week, but this week's a little bit more important.
We just gotta stick to what we do every week. We just gotta come out, we gotta work during the week, and then Saturday should be good for us.
The Nichols College Bison are 5-4. They've got a chance for a winning record here with a win here in the last game of their regular season and perhaps a postseason berth. Their head coach Dale Olmstead says he noticed a shift and a change in this team's attitude as far back as the preseason.
Throughout preseason, I thought we had, kind of a special team. I didn't think we were going to, could we have competed for, a conference title? I'm not sure, but I knew this is the best team I've had since I've been here. We had a great recruiting class. I think the kids have bought into the mindset that us as a staff has put forth, as far as the dedication, the discipline. Not to say the other teams haven't had that. It's just I think these guys are a little bit more focused than some of the players that we've had in the past. To be where we are in the third season is probably even ahead of schedule. I like where we're at right now.
To the Frenzy Dean's list now, and we start with Stephen Bean, the former David Prouty star playing at Framingham State, 42 yards receiving, 2 rushing touchdowns against Bridgewater State. Brandon Miller played his high school ball at Wachusett. He's now at UMass Dartmouth. He had 12 tackles and a sack against Fitchburg State. Obi Melifanu, the former Grafton star, had a big game for UConn, 9 tackles and a couple interceptions against Temple. Jake Holmes, playing at Becker, came out of Westboro, had 103 yards and a touchdown against Castleton. Matt Lorero, out of West Boylston, playing at Worcester State, 11 tackles and a sack against Westfield. And Zach Edwards, who we saw just a couple of weeks ago, the former Tantasco quarterback playing at Plymouth State, 2 touchdowns, 133 passing yards against Mass Maritime. Well, that'll do it for the Frenzy Extra this week. They're playing Johnny Cash here at Algonquin. The T-Hawks feeling good going into the championship week. That's it for Frenzy Extra. I'm Andy Lacombe. We hope to see you next week, but first we'll see you Friday and Saturday on the Frenzy.